Hello everyone, welcome to another video on AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associates 2020 certification. And in this video we are going to talk about and see how to configure VPC, which is virtual private cloud, and subnet, router, internet gateway security, and network security groups. So starting with VPC. VPC is nothing but a switch inside AWS cloud. This is referred to as it's a separate network that is provided for our EC2 instances. And once we create a VPC, inside VPC we create a subnet, and then subnets are attached to routing table, and routing tables, in the routing table we attach it to an internet gateway for internet access. And security groups are used basically to set up the security firewall to allow ports or IP addresses to for the flow of traffic inbound and outbound. So starting with VPC. Basically, what is a VPC? VPC is the Amazon VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. Lets you provision a logically isolated section of AWS cloud where you can launch AWS resources in virtual network that you can define. So here this is a VPC, and in a VPC we can create different subnets. This is subnet 1, this is subnet 2, and that is attached to a routing table which is attached so basically which can be attached to an internet gateway, and that's how you can get out of the AWS cloud and connect to internet. Now there are two types of VPCs. There is a default VPC and custom VPC. Default VPC is the one that is automatically available in AWS when we create our first EC2 instance. This is the default VPC that is available. Default subnet is available with which we are connected to EC2 instance, but we can create our own VPC as well, which is known as a custom VPC, and it is non-default VPC is created and configured by you to an EC2 instance. So you must explicitly create subnet, NAT, security group, internet gateway when we work with custom VPC. So in this lab, we are going to create our own custom VPC. So first of all, I'm going to show you where is the default VPC and how is it configured, and then what we are going to do, we are going to create our VPC. Then inside VPC we are going to create a subnet, and in the subnet we will create two EC2 instances. So once we create VPC and subnet and EC2 instance, in order to connect this EC2 instance to the outside world, we are going to create VPC internet gateway as well. So let's get started. So first of all, we need to go into VPC. You can go from here, VPC, you can search for services, you can go here and search for services, or you can go down here where we have VPC in the networking section and go to VPC. So in the VPC, what we need to do is, once we are in VPC, first of all, I'm going to show you the default VPC. So here, if I go into VPC here, so in the VPC I have this is the default VPC. So you won't see these other VPCs here, but default VPC, this is the default VPC. Let me just clear them out, we don't need them. So this is the normally when you log into the AWS network, you have only one VPC, which is a default VPC and a default subnet. This is what you see here. This is a default subnet, this is a default VPC, and with this default VPC there are 6 subnets associated with this default VPC. As you can see, default VPC, and these are all these VPCs. So what we are going to do now is we are going to create our own VPC, and that VPC will be just an internet facing VPC. So for example, if I don't create a VPC, all the EC2 instances are by default part of this default VPC that is connected to internet, and that is why those EC2 instances we are able to connect outside the internet, or from home we can connect to those EC2 instances. But in this lab we are going to create our own custom VPC. So in order to do that, we can create a custom VPC called pass demo VPC 01. So pass is our pass institute name, and demo, it's a demo, and VPC1, and for the subnet we are going to use a range. So this is the address range that we are going to use for this VPC, and right here it's saying that it's do you need IPv6? We don't need IPv6 for this. Tenancy is the default one. I mean, this is the where we are logged in at the moment. Here if you need a key, which is a tag, and that's it. So now we have created our own default VPC. So as soon as you create a VPC, the very first thing that you need to create is a subnet. So we can go to the subnets. So keeping this diagram in mind, what we need to do is that here I've just created this VPC. Now I am going to create this subnet. So creating the subnet is just create a subnet, and we will attach it to our pass demo VPC, which is this one, and here the subnet name will be pass demo subnet 01. So this will be connected to our VPC availability zone. We're gonna keep it in any availability zone, or we can prefer availability zone. So I'm gonna just choose 1A so that I know that where I need to create these VMs in. Though if you don't select availability zone, one will be selected for you. Now here we need to provide we do need to provide a subnet IP address. So this will be the subnet that we will be using in the subnet. So subnet needs to have an isolated range of IP addresses. This is a range of IP address. We are saying 10.0.1.0/24 is a complete range of 256 IP addresses allocated for this subnet. So we are going to use this subnet here. The tag is automatically attached, and we are going to create this subnet. So the subnet is also created. So now we have subnet created. We also have VPC. Let's create a Vm Ec2 instance inside. I'm not gonna configure the routing table and internet gateway for a reason that I wanted to show you that once we create a EC2 instance, there won't be any internet connection. We won't be able to connect to internet. We need to do two things in the routing table, then we will be able to connect them to internet. So in order to create a EC2 instance, all I need to do is to go and create to EC2 instance. So let's create one EC2 instance first, and then try to access that EC2 instance, so that I can show you how to configure the routing table and internet gateway. So for this purpose, I'm gonna create just this instance. And so in this one, nothing special. Here we can add few lines here so that it can become a web server. So for that we can add this script. For that we can add the script. Let's have a quick look at the script. Yum update will update the VM. This will install the web server. This will make sure the service is running. This will make sure service will run even after server restart. And echo statement is the one that will create an HTML file. Just make sure that all of the characters here is small letters, and right here this will create an HTML. This will create an HTML file in this. So that's it. And storage, we don't need anything. Within the key, this will be, so I'm gonna just call it name. This is pass demo EC2 instance, and I'm gonna take this name and I'm gonna use this in the security group. So we are going to use that in the security group so that we know this is the security group that we are using, and I'm going to open port HTTP port and launch and review. Launch the instance. In this case I am going to use this key 360 cloud. We can create your own key as well, but in my case I'm going to use this key, existing key here, that is sitting in my downloads. So view instance. I'm going to wait for a few minutes. Once the instance is ready, then we are going to try and connect to the instance, and then we will configure the routing group and the internet group. In the meantime, what we can do, we can create another instance as well. So this time we are going to create Windows instance. So Windows, I'm gonna go with quickly Windows 2016 base image, and in this we are going to go with T2 micro. Nothing special. There is something special we forgot to do in the previous instance. We needed to select our own VPC. So for this let me select Linux instance instead of, because we needed a Linux instance to start with. So I'm gonna just start with this, and it's saying that I want to keep this. So here, let me cancel this all. So I'm going to cancel this all one time and create a Linux instance in our VPC. So we can change VPCs of the EC2 instances as well, but here, just for the sake of making it simple for everyone, I'm going to just create a new Linux instance, and in this Linux instance we just need to make sure that this is from our own VPC. So this is our VPC, and the only subnet that exists in this is this, and here I'm gonna just apply use subnet enable. So public IP address assignment is here, so it will have a public IP address, but since we haven't configured the internet gateway, it won't work. For that we need to do few settings. So I'm gonna add the script here again, making sure that all are small letters, otherwise it won't run. And here we do need 2 greater than sign in order to save this file, and other than that sudo su for the root access. In the storage we don't need to add anything. In the tag, need to name this so this is pass demo EC2 instance 02. Within the security group, I'm just gonna add port 80. So I'm adding port 80 to this, and launch and review. For this I'm gonna use the same key and launch. So this will be launching an instance. Now we have created 2 instances, one instance in the default VPC that can directly be accessed, and one instance in our VPC so that we can see the difference. Okay, so that both instances are ready. So this instance is on a default VPC, and we can check that out. It's right here. So this will be in the default VPC, which is this default VPC, and this other instance is sitting in our own VPC. So let's connect to the first one, which is on default VPC, and connect. So I'm going to just connect using the EC2 instance right from here. So since it has a public access and it is on default VPC, we are able to connect to this instance. Now I'm going to connect to the other instance that is sitting on the in our custom VPC. So once I try to connect, it is trying to connect to the other instance, and it won't be able to connect. This will time out. Now the reason is the default VPC when we create this is missing out two things here. So first of all, it is missing a internet gateway, number one, and secondly it is also missing a routing table information that can connect. So now we are going to do two things. We are going to create an internet gateway, and we are going to configure the routing table to connect this VPC to this internet gateway. An internet gateway is automatically connected to the outside internet. So for that, all I need to do is go back to, so I'm gonna open this in another tab. And in this I am going to go to VPC. So VPC is there, subnet is there. The one thing before writing routing table, I need to go to internet gateway, and I need to create a new internet gateway. So there is this default internet gateway. There is one more internet gateway that you might not have, but this is from my other lab. So for this lab I am going to create a new internet gateway, and that internet gateway will be demo pass demo gateway 1 internet gateway 1 IGW, and this is the name of the gateway, and create the internet gateway. And this is that easy. So once you create an internet gateway, now you need to associate, now you need to basically go into the routing table and configure this gateway to be connected to our subnet. So this is our subnet, this is our VPC. Okay, so one more thing. So once the internet gateway is created, we need to connect this to VPC first. So the internet gateway is created. So from the actions here, we need to attach this to the VPC. So the VPC that I'm going to attach it with our pass demo VPC and attach internet gateway. Why are we doing this? Because we need our second instance to be accessed from internet. So first we created internet gateway, then we attached it to the VPC. Secondly, now in order to connect, we need to go to the routing table, and within the routing table we need to find the routing table of our demo VPC. So this is our demo VPC, this one. I'm gonna just select this and go into the routes, and here the route is saying that all the traffic from this main subnet, which is this VPC main subnet, can connect to each other. So if there are 10 instances within this subnet, within this VPC, they all can talk to each other. All I need to do is to add a route for internet. So I'm going to add a route for internet, and I'm going to say all the traffic. So all the traffic means that all the traffic, any type of traffic 0.0.0.0.0.0/0 and can pass through internet gateway. Here I'm going to select internet gateway. This is our pass demo internet gateway, and save route. So once this is saved, this will complete the exercise. So we created a VPC, then we created a subnet. So now I am going to go back to EC2 instance. So here this was our EC2 instance. I'm gonna again try and connect to this EC2 instance, and this time most probably we should be able to connect. So we are able to connect to this instance as well, and we are able to connect to both of the instances. So in this video, guys, what we did, we created our own custom VPC, and then we created our own subnet. In the subnet we created 2 Linux instances. We also we wanted to create a Windows instance, but we created 2 Linux instances. One Linux instance was part of the default VPC, so I'm gonna move it out. That was part of the default VPC. We created this instance in our own subnet, and then later we created internet gateway, and with the internet gateway we connected with this VPC, and the last thing we did was added a route in the routing table. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you in another video.